Hi and welcome. My name is Rob Scott from CX Today, bringing you the latest customer experience technology news and conversation. So today's talk is centered on customer experience in the digital workplace. And to help explore this topic, I'm joined by Natalie Keightley from Avaya. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, Rob. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, it's very nice to see you again. Thanks for joining me. How about we get started with a quick bio? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for Avaya, please.
Yeah, sure. So I head up the solutions marketing organization at Avaya, which covers our customer experience portfolio as well as our digital workplace and our CCaaS portfolio. So it's quite a big portfolio that we cover. Like Avaya, I've been in the industry for many years. I think in the customer experience space, it's a great time to be in this industry because we've seen so much change in the last few years, much more rapid change that we've seen in the customer experience space over the last few years than we have over the last 20 or 30 that it's been in existence. And we're working very closely with our customers here at Avaya to help them get the most out of their contact centers, their existing investments, but very importantly, address the future needs of the customer experience center. So it's a really great time for us here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. And you're absolutely right. Things have changed so much just in the last few years. And so just this year, it seems we've really skyrocketed. In terms of getting this session started today, how about, let's talk through the kind of how the digital workplace has really impacted the world of the contact center. What's it like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think there has been a huge impact, and I'd sort of backtrack a little bit first, because in order to really answer that, you've got to look at what the digital workplace is all about and some of the key characteristics that are impacting other parts of the organization, like the contact center. And it's really a fascinating space because, firstly, I think the digital workplace has really brought about one of the most significant changes in work, which is working anywhere, whether it's in your office, in a cafe, in a hotel. It's really just been about connected to the work and where work is happening. And it really doesn't matter if one person is in one place and somebody else is somewhere else. Every single person can contribute and should be able to contribute, irrespective of their location, their time zone, their role, their function. So that's been one of the big things we've seen change in the digital workplace. The other thing that has been very significant is that we've seen work become increasingly unplanned. And it's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving. And we're seeing how small teams are coming together to solve a problem, maybe solve an idea, launch a new product. Then they dissolved and they go off and do something else. And it's this unpredictable, unplanned nature of work that has driven so much change in the way that we operate, because collaboration is now based on a business need. It's not about an individual schedule. We've also seen a huge acceptance of artificial intelligence in working alongside the human workforce. And we've seen things like digital co-workers become an essential part of an organization. And with all of that, we've also seen that with the change in the way consumers buy and this new online customer journey, it's kind of changed the importance of customer experience and a realization that it's not just limited to the front office. It is no longer just the contact center or the customer service function, but actually it needs to address the whole organization. And the digital workplace has driven that sort of dissolution of the front and the back offices. And all of that has really impacted the contact center quite significantly, I would say, because we've seen, first of all, that COVID has actually proven that agents can work from anywhere. They can work from home. And not only that is possible, but that it actually works really well. So that's been a big impact of the digital workplace on the contact center. The second thing is, as we've seen, our customers become more sophisticated and their needs constantly changing. And in many cases, actually being quite conflicting. We talk about the everything customer, which is the customer who wants it all, and what they want today might be different to what they wanted yesterday, and certainly what they'll want tomorrow. And sometimes those things are in conflict with one another. But all of that means that the work in the contact center has equally become increasingly unplanned, more complex, more dynamic, more in line with the way the customer, the consumer actually operates. So that's had a huge impact. And then we've seen the fact that there's a realization that AI has got a really important role to play in customer services, not just to support customers, but actually increasingly to support agents as well, so that they can do their jobs better. And then we've seen this whole impact where if customers are going to get the experience that they really need, and the employees who are serving those customers are going to be able to do that for them, they've got to have access across the entire organization. And that means that this divide between the front office and the back office processes that has existed for so long in organizations is really no longer a valid divide. So all these things are having huge impacts on the customer experience center, all driven by the digital workplace. But, probably one of the biggest things we've seen is that there's been a realization that the importance of the employee experience is probably just as important as the customer experience, because we've seen a massive change in employee expectations and in their behaviors. And when you look at applications like Glassdoor that give ratings on organizations in terms of who's best to work with, that's fundamentally changing the recruitment process. So we're seeing a recognition in the contact center that just as important as the customer journey is to them in delivering the customer experience, so too is the employee journey, because they've got to deliver the right journey and the right experience for the employees in order for them to serve those customers effectively. So really the digital workplace has had a huge impact on the contact center.
So let's talk about working from home for a moment then, because we're all working from home, or we all certainly have been working from home this year. Working from anywhere seems to be the next big trend as well. Being able to serve your customers from not just your home location, but potentially from any location. But is that going to be a standard going forward in the contact center? Should work from home be a standard option for most contact centers and agents going forward?
Personally, yes, I really believe it should be. And we've seen this huge shift in attitudes to work over the last few years. You look at the younger generations and they're all about fitting work around their lives. And we're seeing that become a more prevalent trend. And certainly things like working from home have been accelerated by COVID-19. And in fact, one of the very positive but probably unexpected outcomes, I think, of C19 is that it has proven something that so many contact centers have grappled with for years and merely been dipping a toe in the water into, which is working from home and moving agents to a work from home model. And we've seen COVID prove that is possible. And it works. And so much so that, you look at some of the research recently, and many organizations across some of the key verticals, like retail and healthcare, are actually saying that post-COVID, they will continue to support agents in working from home, because they really have seen an improvement in terms of the agent experience and the agent quality of life. And they believe that is in turn leading to lower attrition rates. So I think it is something that definitely is going to be more of a permanent fixture in contact centers. It doesn't necessarily mean that working from home is for everyone. Right. And I think that's important to realize, because there are some people who just quite honestly like being in an office environment. But I think it does offer up so much more flexibility and access to a much wider talent pool for organizations to be able to staff and manage their contact centers better. And certainly as you see things like the gig economy really take off, we're starting to see some of that filter through into the contact center space as well. The gig agent, and so when you can offer flexibility like working from home in that type of environment, I think that just makes it a much better work experience, and fits the model better. And certainly when you look at working parents and some of the challenges they've had in terms of trying to fit perhaps an 8-hour contact center shift around children's schedules. Well, working from home kind of gives more flexibility, because now you can give that working from home parent the option of maybe an early morning shift before the kids get up, a midday shift while they're at school, and then maybe an evening shift when the kids have gone to bed, rather than, one long shift in the middle of the day. So that flexibility becomes really possible when you have got to work from home type of philosophy that you can support. And of course, it helps organizations, because now you can be more flexible in peak periods, and you can meet seasonal demands and things like natural disasters. You can accommodate those so much better. And all of this has to have a positive effect on the agent, and hopefully it'll help to address some of those things that we've seen become very prevalent in the contact center, like agent burnout. So I'm hoping personally that this is something that is going to be a thing that comes out of COVID-19 and is around to stay.
You mentioned, that flexibility and that agility, in the new world, and that's in the new norm, dare I say. But that makes perfect sense, because it's not a binary decision, is it? It's not that you have to have all your agents in the office, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Whereas providing that flexibility, giving them the option to work from home is also potentially, really fantastic, not just for the business, but for the agents too. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. I really do think it helps to lead to more productive agents, certainly in terms of giving them the flexibility. The one thing that I would say, however, Rob, is that the model works if they are given the right support, and if they're given the right tools, access to the right expertise, to all the resources that they need, and very importantly, that they're made to feel part of a team. Because at the end of the day, as we're seeing collaboration become more of a norm in the contact center, multiple roles coming together, multiple people, multiple functions coming together to try and address a customer query, perhaps, that need for being able to work as a team, feel part of a team, collaborate as part of a team, becomes critical. And I dare say that requires a fair amount of change in terms of attitudes, processes, tools that are provided. You have to be able to put the right infrastructure in place in order to support your agents working from home. If you do that, I really do believe it becomes a powerful way of being able to address very complex needs in today's workplace. And for us, it's a good thing, because technology obviously plays a massive role in that. In fact, I think we've seen organizations being very pleasantly surprised as part of, what they've done during COVID-19. They've been very pleasantly surprised about how well the technology has actually worked and enabled them to deliver really good business outcomes. So I think it's a great model, but it obviously needs all the bits around it in order to make it successful.
Well, Avaya plays, as you say, a pretty major role in the contact center technology space. I mean, how are you, adapting to the new norm, the new digital workplace at Avaya, and kind of how are you addressing these challenges ongoing?
Yeah, I think, at Avaya, everything that we do is centered around our customers and our customers' needs. We are very much an outcome-led, customer-centric organization. So, when, for example, we had the situation that occurred with COVID, we were 100% focused on what organizations needed during that time to help them do this successfully, make this huge transition successfully. And so, to be honest, we've learned a lot as part of this process, and we've applied that learning very, very aggressively into our technology. In fact, we actually were able to, working with customers, stand up solutions within a matter of days to support things like contact tracing, because we worked collaboratively with our customers to understand what was required, how it needed to work, and then actually develop that in real time, working alongside them. And that's very much the approach we've taken. Now, our focus is obviously on technology that works and delivers outcomes for organizations. And we've seen three key technologies being prevalent in enabling agents to work very, very successfully from home. The first being providing them with a unified workspace, because that's absolutely critical. They have to have everything that they need at their fingertips: the knowledge, the subject matter experts, the insights, the resources, in order for them to be able to make sure that each interaction with the customer is effortless and positive. And so if they've got to jump from one screen to another, if they've got to open up multiple applications, if they've got to move from one application to another in order to bring in another resource, that has a huge impact on their ability to be able to serve that customer effectively. So being able to bring all of this into one single place that the agent can go to in order to get everything that they need, that is massive in terms of being able to improve the overall effectiveness and the experience of not just the agent, but also the customer. The second technology that we've really focused on, and we're seeing a huge amount of uptake within our customer base, is giving every agent a digital coworker, because we've been able to infuse things like AI and knowledge and insights throughout every customer journey to help ensure that you're making better decisions and you predicting next best actions, etc., has a huge impact on that employee's ability to serve that customer. And I think one of the things that we've seen as more stuff's gone online and digital is that while customers really appreciate those digital and self-service type of interactions, they also really value the human touch. And when they do need to talk to someone in the contact center, they want to talk to someone who's knowledgeable, who's up to speed, but very importantly, that can focus on them. Because in many cases, when the customer wants to speak to someone, it's because they're a bit emotional or it's a very complex interaction. And that's when the human touch, the relationship, the interpersonal elements come to bear. So if you've got a digital coworker who can do all the manual stuff and can surface up insights and can make predictions around the next best action, or maybe bring resources in automatically that the agent might need to help serve this customer, and let the agent focus in on the customer, the interpersonal things that the technology can't do as well today. That's really powerful, because then you're getting the best out of all the resources that you've got to bear. And importantly, of course, that digital assistant can then do some of the very manual work that happens in every customer interaction, like the after-call work. We've seen some after-call work being reduced by up to 65% when you bring in a virtual assistant. So that's really important. But the third technology that I think is massive when you're supporting agents in the digital workplace is ensuring that they've got collaboration tools, and collaboration tools that are integrated into the tools that they use every single day. Because as we said about the digital workplace, this is now about people coming together to solve problems collectively as a team. It's not about an individual anymore. And that applies in the customer journey. And in order to do that, you've got to be able to ensure that the agent not only knows who to bring in, but whether they're available, and then bring them seamlessly into that interaction so that they're not frustrating the customer further by having to go back and repeat things that maybe have already been addressed. So being able to infuse those type of collaboration capabilities into the agent workspace so that they can do all of that seamlessly is incredibly powerful in ensuring that the technology is helping agents really work productively from home. And Avaya is helping with all of those.
And so much to talk about, isn't there? I mean, I know you've got a very, very comprehensive portfolio at Avaya, but you've hit on some really key points there. So thank you so much for that. Natalie, it's been great to see you today. We're going to have to, unfortunately, end it here, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
And that's it from us. If you've enjoyed today's session, please do give us a quick like or share on social. It's always appreciated. I'm Rob Scott from CX Today. Thanks for watching.